Well, Joe, thanks for joining me today. I was excited to talk to you because you have a interesting history with the company. Because I think you started in a very unique way to some of the other people we've talked to. So maybe you
Yep.
could tell us a little bit about how you started with Walters and Wolf.
All right. Yeah, it's funny because I got in the glass trade out of, I guess, college. I quit college. Actually, I was on break from college and my dad said, "Hey, go get a job at one of these companies." And he sent me to like four of the bigger companies. And one of them, I can't remember the names of them, it doesn't matter, but it was funny because one of them was Walters and Wolf, and I went to the address, and the address I had, I couldn't find it. I thought, well, am I in the wrong place? And later on, I found out they had moved at that time. So it was the old address. I think it was off Warm Springs somewhere. And so I ended up going to the next place, and it was Deanza Glass. So I got hired with Deanza and started in the working for them. And it's funny because it was my dad was in the glass business, and I used to work for him a little bit in the Vancouver company he had in Vancouver, Washington, where our satellite offices. I grew up there. But so I was breaking up glass crates, sweeping, cleaning, whatever. And then I came back after I quit school and got a job back with them and delivering whatever they had me do. And I helped, I think, a little bit in the shop, started doing fabrication. Then Walters and Wolf bought them out. And so they actually took over the shop there. So it was Dave Morales, and some people like that. Mary Wolf was there, and she was in the office, and another guy that was Marty Lucas, and he was running the office. And it's funny. So this is the kind of funny part is I was leaving to go home one day, and Dave Morales stopped me and said, "Hey, can you write something on a piece of paper here?" And I'm like, "What's he?" So I wrote down something, and he wanted to see if I wrote legible, because he wanted to see if I wanted to come in the office and help out. So I started helping out in the office. I was already an apprentice, I think, at the time. And so I worked in the office, went in the field, back and forth a little bit. And then I don't remember when it was, but it kind of got slowed down to a skeleton crew, and I was laid off. And I went into work for a couple other shops and ended up getting a job with PG&E, and I thought that's going to be my career. And I was in the gas department, started down low. And I joke with people when you see them standing around, I was the guy in the hole while the other guys were standing around. And I did that for about 6 months, and they didn't keep the summer help anymore. They actually were going to contract things out. And I got let go on a Friday. I called Skip Welts, and he answered, and he said, "Hey, come on in Monday." So I came back, and that was 92. November 92, and I've been back since. So then I, of course, helped out in the, I think I went in the field first, and then I was brought in because I'd already helped in the office. It was now I was at the main building, and I was downstairs, cubes, everything. So I just remember, actually, I worked in his office first. He said, "Just work in here." So I was in Skip's office. I'm like, wow, I get to be in his office. He was out most of the time. And then they moved me around. So I got in, and I would do stuff the old school way. We didn't have computers yet. We did cut and paste, do fab drawings. And I kind of was a PM / whatever you did, everything, I guess. I worked with under some other PMs and stuff. So kind of did that for a while, went out in the field maybe a time or two again, and brought back in the office. So that's how I got in the office and worked with Walters and Wolf. And actually, since I've been back, man, I've seen so many changes, of course, but definitely if I look back, I start remembering how different it was. And so, yeah, so here I am now, still 29 years will be this November, back with Walters and Wolf.
Wow, that's
So,
great. So,
yeah.
so when you came in like 92, that must have been a pretty early days of like the computer stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did you were you versed in the computer, or were you mostly doing stuff by hand? Tell me a little bit about that change for Walters and Wolf.
Yeah. First of all, I had never used a computer before. Didn't know anything on how to use them or anything. And so I was taught by other guys in the office how to use it. And I was like, I don't really think I'll use a computer. I mean, yeah, they have one here. I really felt that way. So it was funny when I did start learning, it was pretty basic, some of the stuff we did. And I think, we did some forms and stuff like that, and emails and stuff, but it was all new stuff. Everything I learned was new to me. So it was definitely very different, because we had our drawings rolled out. You could smell, you had the blueprints, you stamped things, you made binders of fab tickets and everything and put them in binders. And I just was talking to someone earlier about that. And we had binders. It was so many copies and stamping yeah, but it was funny because I thought, yeah, I'm not going to use a computer. I can't imagine why I would use one. And I did start using it. And anyway, now I got a computer and 2 big monitors and everything else. So it's pretty cool. And now I'm on a camera here doing this via, the computer and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah, things change, man. So, so this is, we're recording this for the engineering offsite, talking to some of the people in the engineering department. Like, what was engineering like back then? Who were the people you were working with, and what kind of stuff were they doing? And
wow. Engineering. Well, we had, of course, my boss now is Pete Cortez, and he was a drafter. Kendall Phillips, guys that I worked with, lots of different people, but they did the drawings, manually, a lot of it. I just remember a lot of it was just, I'd look at them, I'd look how they did the drawings. And, when we got CAD, then I saw them starting to learn CAD and do that. And then when I would do my fab tickets, I would actually have them print the profiles out for me, and I would cut the pictures of the profile and paste them and make fab tickets that way. So that's how it was that way back in the day. And then, of course, I learned a little bit of CAD, and I would ask the drafters and stuff how they do stuff, watch them, and then I'd learn from them. I think I took one class, but everything I pretty much learned was in-house with Walters and Wolf, which was really cool, because you really learn a lot more, I think, faster when you're doing it and working with people that way. So I just remember some projects when I worked with CAD too, and how the engineers or the drafting team would do it. We were always evolving, but the way they did CAD, and now they weren't doing it by hand anymore, but they were doing it with CAD. It was pretty cool to see what they did. And then when I got to use it, I was like, well, how do I take advantage of using this CAD? And I would say, okay, I can do this many fab tickets, or I can do this and copy. And it was all on CAD. I was like, wow, this is cool. But I was so new at it, and I didn't really understand a lot of it. And of course, I don't even know what our capabilities were at that time, but I just saw it getting better and faster, and having to, getting away from cutting and pasting and all that, and being able to do it on CAD and printing stuff out was amazing, getting rid of paper and all that. So, I just saw lots of stuff that, imagine doing all your details by hand, and sketching them. They had stuff, I think they cut and paste out other details, but now just having the library and everything is so different with the AutoCAD and everything. So, I just changed so much, and I don't know. It's just, that's a lot of years, that I've seen since then. It's like I almost forget how different it was, and now how much more tools, how many tools we have now and stuff, and how smooth it goes. So,
yeah, I think the first time I worked at Walters and Wolf was in the early 90s, maybe 93 or 94 or something like that.
mm-hmm.
So I remember I met you because I had worked with your dad at Midwest, and then
Yeah,
I met Kendall and Pete. I think Mario was here.
Mario was here. Yeah.
Dave Council, I think, was one of the guys.
Yeah,
here.
Dave Council. Yeah.
Keith Garnham, maybe.
Yeah, Keith Garnham.
Maybe. Yeah, there were a few of the old time. Paul Kendall had just started here, I think, maybe a year before me. He was new. So yeah, that's back in the day for sure, with most of the office crew that's still here, right?
Oh yeah, and when you start naming, I don't know. Oh yeah, there's, I can remember some of those other people too. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and I think part of this offsite is to talk a little bit about where we've been, just so people can kind of see how far we've come so far, But one thing I was going to ask you about, just because it is an engineering offsite, you have you've been one of those people that, like, to me, are have a very great sense of accuracy. Like you have it, you're always like, you would check my work and it would always drive me nuts because you would always find stuff in my work. I would think this time my stuff's gonna be perfect. And I'd give it to you to check and you'd always find stuff in my work, right? So maybe, I don't know, can you share a little bit about how did you get there? How did you get to the point where you could find so many little details in the big scheme of things, right?
Yeah, it's funny because it's I would I've always been kind of detailed, a detailed person. If you knew, I don't tell everybody certain things about me, but I'm a I don't know. I would be dating my wife and I'd be looking beyond her and lining things up. It's just kind of what I do in a sense. It's kind of, I kind of like things. But if you look at my desk, it's not everything's perfect or anything, but you have to have a method to your madness, I guess, in a sense. And I was always kind of that way. With my mom would tell me stories of how I was, and I was kind of like that. So it's kind of how I am. And I like things. I see things. I'm that way. I look at stuff and see if it's right. I guess to me, something seems right. Someone said this to me the other day. Said, well, that doesn't matter. I go, but it matters to me. And so sometimes, and I kind of, to me, what I do, I want it to be right, presentable. You can hand it off. It's like, don't look back in a sense. So I kind of have been that way. And it's funny because I was into certain things. I was into art, certain things that my mom would, I just remember things that I was really picky about. And to me, it's almost like sometimes I go, oh, why am I so like this, picky? I'm looking at stuff and going, but to me, there's value in it. I mean, if you see, I see there's value in it, I go, okay, because I see stuff that I go, man, I almost missed that. But I compare things, I look at things, and it's the way I look at it, I'll tell you, here's what my wife said to me one time. She said, if you were an investigator, you would, even if a guy didn't do it, you'd have him saying he did do it, confess to doing it. And I don't know, because I don't know if that's coming out right, but I've always been that way. Like me, I'll just line things up. I look at things a specific way, and to me, I can tell if they're off by just looking at them a certain way. And so, what's funny is there are other people I see like that, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. I like that. And to me, I don't know. It's just, I don't know why. I mean, I like to see things a certain way. Like I remember when I was checking some of your work, and I thought, man, I'm going to mark up Steve's work. And I'm like, do I put a smiley face on there and whatever? Because, hey, but I want to tell you what I really see and give you what I think needs to be fixed. Because my thing is, what I notice and stuff is when we do something, it might work now, but it's going to get passed on another job. And so then it'll still be there and not fixed when it could have got better, and no one else has to question it, and it's right. So I think that's what I really like about what we do is how we fix things, we make them better, and we create a standard, and it gets passed on and we can reuse it. And I don't like to have to think about things again that I already worked out or thought about and was done. I'm like, I'm done with that. We should be, yeah. So that's kind of how I look at it. So it's exciting to see that when we're doing that kind of stuff to me, well, and I don't have to pick that apart the next time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this guy, man, he's so picky. But I've seen other guys like that, and I'm like, yes, cool. You're like that too, and you want it. Yeah. So it's good. It's exciting. I think it's good, and that's how we improve and get better and create a better product. So.
No, I agree, and I just. I think as a team, everybody appreciates what you bring to the table because, you bring that quality, that quality sense to the work. And I think in the Takeoff Group, especially, like everybody, that's what we all aspire to is to do it once and do it right and have that great product that goes out to the shop. So, you've done a great job for us over the years. And I think a lot of people look up to you in that respect because that's what you bring to the table. So. Well, man, I really appreciate spending a minute with us today and kind of tell us a little bit about how things were. And
Yeah.
It's great talking to you, Joe, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
pause this whole recording here. So.
All right. Thanks.